Okay, so I might be in the minority on this, but I love dessert cocktails. Like a cocktail that strikes a perfect balance between sweetness and flavor and textural interest is just, it's so enjoyable to me. And there's a great challenge in that because there are two massive pitfalls. One, you have something that's just way too sweet, just way too much sugar. It's not really an adult drink. It tastes like a little kid's cocktail that has booze in it, which is honestly just kind of unsettling. Or you have more grown-up, spirit-forward cocktails that just are not really dessert, if you know what I mean. And so as a result, many dessert cocktail recipes that are actually worth drinking tend to be fairly complicated. Personally, I've come up with only 2 original cocktail recipes thus far in my career. Can we call it a career? I don't know if making YouTube videos really constitutes as a career yet. But even my cocktail has 9 ingredients in it, which, by the way, if you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. Maybe when we reach like 10,000 subscribers, maybe then I'll show you guys. But today's cocktail is a massive exception to both extremes because not only is it freaking delicious, I mean, I think it is, just based on the recipe, it's got to be amazing. But it's also very simple. It's only got 3 ingredients. So from an entertainment standpoint, as long as it lives up to the hype, this might be the perfect dessert cocktail. Let's find out. Today's recipe from Regarding Cocktails by Sasha Petraske is probably one of the best return on investments you can make behind the bar. Very simple, easy to remember, and very, very delicious. 1.5 ounces of aged Dominican rum, and 1.5 ounces of a quality coffee liqueur. Here I'm using the Especial version of Kahlua, which has a higher ABV and a much more intense coffee flavor than the original. Stir together over ice in a mixing glass. Strain into a chilled coupe. And top with whipped cream. And here, I think unsweetened with just a touch of salt is the best flavor. And that is the Dominicana. All right, well, I have overwhipped the cream here, and that's just due to inexperience. But even though it looks kind of a mess in person, I don't know what it's going to look like on camera, so let me know in the comments. But even though it looks like a mess, I have never been more confident that a drink is going to be just delicious than I am about this cocktail right now. So I'm going to give it a try. Cheers. Oh my God, that's amazing. I don't even know what to say. I'm going to go in for another sip. Good grief. Okay, I think I found my new favorite dessert cocktail. So here's what it tastes like. The coffee liqueur is the first thing you notice. A wonderful, strong coffee flavor. But then the rum immediately starts to make its voice heard. It's got this barrel spicy note and just really interesting like baking spices, and there's definitely a hit from the ethanol because there's a lot more alcohol in the rum than there is in the coffee liqueur. It's really interesting. It's so multi-dimensional. It's hard to pin down the flavor. It's very clearly coffee at the beginning, but like right now, letting the flavor sit in my mouth for a minute, I don't have like a coffee aftertaste. It's hard to figure out what taste I do have in there because there's just so much going on. The cream is just a perfect complement to this drink. And even though it looks really messy in person from this angle and probably from yours as well, the texture is really enjoyable. However, to get a beautiful cocktail that also has a lovely whipped cream texture, what I like to do is take one of these condiment squeeze bottles like I use for simple syrup, take the coil off of my Hawthorne strainer, and put it in here with some cream and a little bit of salt, which, by the way, don't sleep on putting salt in your whipped cream. It is chef's kiss. Anyway, then you can whip it to a less stiff peak consistency pretty easily. You just shake it up a little bit, test it on your finger. If it beads up really nicely, it's perfect to float on the cocktail. And then it's easy to make enough to go on one drink, and you can just put the bottle back in the fridge and it'll kind of stay a little bit foamy. It'll kind of also flatten out a little bit. But I'm gonna go back in for another taste because this thing is freaking incredible. I feel like a failure right now because I really don't know what to say about this cocktail. It's just, there's so many flavors going on. I'm struggling to put it into words. All that aside, I would highly recommend the Dominicana, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers. It's just rum, coffee liqueur, cream, Boom. Freaking amazing.